we just learned that the Buckman Bridge is now closed, along with the Dames Point Bridge.
And there's some areas here on the First Coast that have curfews in effect. So one of those is Clay County. They have a curfew that goes into effect until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. I think we got Lauren's microphone worked out. Let's go back over to her with the latest.
Sorry guys, had to get some fresh batteries in there. We've been working around the clock here for everyone to hopefully walk you through this storm. Now remember, we are still seeing the eye of Irma move up the spine of the state, essentially approaching the Orlando metro area. So at this point, we're watching these strong feeder bands move up towards the north. So the areas that we are seeing the highest wind gusts at this point, Putnam, St. Johns, Flagler counties, this is one of our main feeder bands here, okay? And so at this point, we're really in the brunt of it. Irma is here for us across the First Coast because remember that track will continue to skirt back out towards the northwest. It's not really going to head right up towards us, okay? Here is the current tropical radar in the Lakeland area. Things finally beginning to clear up for them, but I did have a storm spotter down there that had recently a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust on Twitter. And out towards Kissimmee, they're seeing these very intense rains fall up I-4 in Orlando as well. Claremont and the Lacoochee, they're going to begin to see the intense rain pick up in intensity. So for us here at home, Flagler County actually getting out of this feeder band at this point, so that's some good news for them, but the worst of it heading up through central St. Johns County and also into Palatka at this point, down west towards Gainesville. So this all kind of rotating on shore. So remember, we've got the flood threat. We've also got the tornado threat. But at this point, we don't even have any active tornado warnings, I believe, across the state of Florida. So we'll keep watching that for you. But at this point, we're watching the flooding potential. And what we have here are flash flood warnings. This one was just recently posted by the National Weather Service, including a portion of Putnam County. We've got a little portion of Marion County as well as St. Johns and a good bulk of northern Flagler County. So this was likely posted because of that Palatka Healthcare Center that we were talking about, the nursing home that's being evacuated because of the water. So right now, no more information on that as far as our National Weather Service chat goes, but this flash flood warning will last until 3:45 in the morning. So we've got another 2.5 hours or so, give or take, for this warning. So these are a little bit more long lasting because it's a heads up that several inches of rain have just inundated the area and more is falling currently. As you can see, we've got those intense reds and oranges and yellows across the map right here. So we're seeing rainfall rates that are very intense. Also another flash flood warning that we do have up towards Duval and Nassau that'll last until 1:30 in the morning, although not officially any reports of the flooding at this point in this area. So if we do have any flood reports, of course you want to report them to your local officials, and then we can go ahead and get that out to the public here as we go ahead and kind of give you all of these reports that we are digesting in our National Weather Service chat. It's just basically all of the meteorologists in the market here. We're kind of talking and working through this storm together. So again, those two warnings are in place, but the threat will continue to move up into southeast Georgia as far as the heavy rain bands go, and also again that tornado watch in effect until 11 o'clock on our Monday morning. So we've still got another 10 hours or so for that warning. At this point, no tornado warnings, so that is some good news, but the big concern at this hour seems to be the flash flooding potential. We've got that flood watch that's in place for the entire area because of the very intense rain, and remember, we've had a very soggy summer. Gainesville actually seeing the soggiest summer on record. Here in Jacksonville, one of the most rainy summers for us as well. So yes, we've seen a lot of rain. The grounds are already saturated. We had that nor'easter before we began to saw the effects of Irma roll in. And right now, radar showing those intense coloring with the rain at this point and not really picking up on a whole lot of rotation in these storms. So that is some good news. But again, tornado warnings or not, we're still seeing the intense hurricane force winds already down in Flagler County. We had a wind gust report at the Flagler Pier of 75 miles per hour. At the Flagler EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, 72 miles per hour. And that's going to continue to move up into St. Johns, Clay County, okay, up into Duval as well. And I do believe that much of this threat for Northeast Florida will really, at least the worst of it, is now until about just after sunrise, but then we're going to continue to track the potential for the weather as we head into the afternoon hours. So estimated rainfall totals at this point, you can guess exactly where the strongest ones are right now. So let's go ahead and what we call query this. So this is just the Doppler indicated and what they're estimated here. Of course, your rainfall totals at home may be a little different, but wow, this is in northern Flagler County, over 7 inches of rain, and that's where that flash flood warning is in effect at this point. Let's look at southeastern Putnam County, just about 6.5 inches there. If we look in western portions of Putnam County, we've got again another about 6.5 inches there, but the rainfall rates here could be upwards of 2 to 3 inches in some of these storms. So you can only imagine how much rain is still to come. Remember, we were expecting and forecasting 6 to 12 inches. So it looks like for some portions of the area, especially Flagler, St. John's, and Putnam, that we're going to be on the high end of that scale when this event is all said and done. So this is also including portions of the Middleburg area, and also in northern Clay County, we've got about 6 inches of rain. And remember, we're tracking also the river flooding that could be ongoing here. So we're going to watch the river levels rise as all of these rainfall rates and all the rain kind of drains into our creeks and estuaries and rivers. And then also we've got those northeast winds that are really intense, kind of pushing back the water onto our coast and up the St. Johns River. So even look at this, Camden County, we're seeing some rainfall rates of just about 5.5, 6 inches or so, and they're still going to see more rain that's heading up their way. We've still got all of those intense rain bands coming